Person, I'm gonna have to edit this film down to nothing. This EvenStephens documentary.
All right, just sit here. That's good.
Greetings, EvenStephenoids.
Give me a ticket for an airplane.
No, not right now. Hey,
Ain't got
is this
time
thing on?
nor a
Hello?
thing on fast train. Oh, the lonely days ago.
So,
I'm coming home, yeah.
start from the beginning. I had met Evan through a mutual friend, this girl Pam that he was dating.
I was dating Pam at the time, and I met Scott.
Pam said, my boyfriend's a really good guitar player. You should start a band with him. I had played in bands in high school, and, I missed it a lot. The bands I played in were good, they were fine. I was usually the weakest link, but, I was looking to take it to the next level of, really good musicianship. We put an ad in the Penny Saver. So we wrote out what we were looking for in a band, and I remember Evan insisted that we write Blues a Must. I think the first guy to respond was Reno, and he was a keyboardist. Which I was very excited for because I had never played with a keyboardist before.
So I picked up a penny saver and I happened to find an ad in there that said keyboardist wanted, blues are a must.
Then we got a response from a drummer. His name was Doug Tourette.
So I made the phone call, and I got Scotty on the line, and we talked, and we decided to meet. We met in Carmel, and he handed me a tape and asked me to learn it. Made a comment about my hair. It was shoulder length and brown at the time, not short, gray and white.
So I knew a bass player in White Plains. His name was also Scott, actually. And he came up and he played with us the very first rehearsal. So now we had Evan, myself, Doug, Reno, and this guy, Scott. We got together at our friend Brian's house.
I remember our first rehearsal was at Brian Sheldrake's house in his little studio there, right in Carmel there. I do remember that. It was in 1992.
Interesting story about Brian was that when he was 13 years old, he touched the third rail on a train track and was electrocuted, lost both of his arms. So this guy had a recording studio and did everything with his feet. It was unbelievable. So Scott only lasted one practice. It was just too far for him to go. So now we're kind of back to square one. We needed a bass player, and bass players were not easy to find. But I think it was Doug who knew Monty. I'm not sure, but I think it was Doug.
Used to do a lot of jam nights, open mic nights around that time. And I used to run into this Doug Tourette guy. One of those nights he got my phone number off of me and called. Said there was a band he was working on, putting together with a really charismatic front man. Try him out.
So now we had settled on the five. And Monty joining the band, we were off and running.
When they called me in for a rehearsal, I had thought to myself, I learned the songs, but I don't know what these guys can do. I don't even know if they can play. And they didn't know if I can play. I had to have an escape plan. I thought, if this goes south, I got to get out of here somehow.
That's kind of how it all started. Monty was an amazing bass player. I didn't even realize 18, 19, and 20. Had no idea it was him playing the bass in these bands. I mean, he played with Rusty Dunn of the Dates. That's crazy.
I met Monty. He doesn't know this. I heard Monty playing with, was it Scott Smith? Somewhere in Carmel jamming. And then I remember stumbling in playing with him when he was playing with Charlie Apap and John Thomas. That was years ago, so I knew Monty.
The thing about Monty, too, that I really remember was when I met him, I'm like, oh, wait a second. This guy is the smartest guy in the room. This is ridiculous. So I was a little intimidated by him. Then I heard him play bass, and I'm like, oof, this guy is a monster.
Monty, the bass player, had this great sound. His bass had really good punch.
Evan, I knew. I've heard him play before, judged competitions with him before. Carmel guy, yeah, so we kind of knew each other, bouncing around Carmel.
So when I first met Evan, I liked Evan a lot, right off the bat. He was a Yankee fan. He actually had Yankee tickets and would take me to some games, which was kind of cool. But he was a phenomenal guitar player, the best I had ever seen. So Evan was just a monster guitar player. I had really never heard anyone play like him.
And my first impression was that Evan was a monster guitar player.
Could play anything, and was not afraid to take chances. Was really, really so solid. I mean, he was really the backbone of the whole band.
Look out, baby, now here I come. I'm running for my love.
First impression of Scott, happy, go get him, and best front man I ever played with. Hands down, Scotty Stevens. Oh my God, best front man ever. He had everybody in the palm of his hands. He was like frickin' Elvis.
You gotta make her feel real good. Tell her that you love her, like you know you should. Then you be glad every night, yeah, that you treat her right. Oh, hey, hey, hey,
There was this new guy to me, Scott. He was seemed okay. You know, unabashedly outgoing and had a lot of friends, probably a following there. All good. He could sing too. Holy crap. Couldn't do Elvis for save his life.
Along came Reno, and I got to be honest, Reno was very difficult to work with.
Gonna put on your rock clothes, Reno?
I'll be in my trailer. I've had enough of this.
Just kidding, Reno. Reno is another one of these guys. As soon as you met him, you loved him. Only problem with Reno was he's a Met fan.
Then he made a comment about my Met jacket I was wearing. And then that was it.
And there was Reno. I was like, he's got a keyboard. That means we have a sax player or something, and he could sing too. So they tried out a few things.
Reno, I really didn't know how to spell Reno's last name until I actually saw him on Facebook, like 20, 30 years later. I mean, I didn't even know Reno's last name for a long Kalawala, or Kalawala. He was just old Reno. And I remember Reno with a smile. Reno was always happy and always had a smile on his face. And he was always cool. I mean, when I would lose it and Monty would lose it, Reno just sat back and had a whole smile.
Reno, your keys sounded really good.
Reno, he was just such a likable, good guy. And he used to look at me and go, Scotty.
What can I say about Doug? Doug was a character. Good guy. Always meant well. But he just couldn't get things right.
Doug was very, very talented. No doubt about it. Could really play, but had a little trouble with time, both playing and the fact that he would be late for gigs.
And I think he was medicated because the tempos would always speed up. It would start off like this, and then he would just get excited, and then it would just be, I've done a bit of drugs in my life, but I think he's done more.
Well, I knew Doug sort of. Knew we could hold a beat.
I can't even remember, but I think he'd be constantly late or not showing up.
Oh man, that was the most. Well, first of all, my best Doug Tourette story. I almost said Tourette syndrome. My best Doug Tourette story was we were playing. Where was it, Scotty? Happy Valley, the old Happy Valley there. And we're, an hour before we have to go on, and Doug arrives, and he doesn't have a snare drum. and he's contemplating maybe putting some duct tape on a little drum thrum he had or something that he could bang on something. And it was mind-blowing. He was thinking about using his floor tom or something like that. He came to a gig without a snare drum, which was quite interesting.
I remember a gig at Michael's, and somebody else will probably bring this up, that he came to the gig and he didn't have his snare stand.
A little forgetful. One time he forgot his snare drum when we played at Michael's Tavern.
I remember leaving a gig one time to go find Doug a snare stand. And then there was that other time I had to leave a gig to go find Doug a snare stand. And then there was a time I had to leave a gig to go find Doug.
Yeah, usually I panic and freak with things like this, but I forgot who came up and told me. I think it may have been Evan.
I noticed he's not on the list here, so we can be candid, and I'm hoping that this doesn't get distributed to everybody because he was a funny guy.
I had this little tiny apartment that was shared with a neighbor who were this 60-year-old couple, which at the time seemed like, the oldest people I'd ever met. So anyway, we used to rehearse in there, and we would be so loud.
No, just don't play too loud. Don't play too loud, man. Static as opposed to listen.
Don't play too loud.
Okay, just go. So when it goes, don't worry about me.
They never said a word. This couple, they just kind of ate it. I had no idea why. Years later, I found out that the guy was a peeping Tom. So, very creepy dude. Well, the first name, AKA, was honestly because we couldn't think of a name.
What was that all about, Scott? I don't know. AKA. I think that was Doug Tourette's idea. Doug had a lot of ideas.
I believe, if I remember correctly, it was Doug's idea. We were looking for a name because we just booked our first gig, and that's what we decided on.
And we had a gig at Fiddler's, our first gig, and we had no idea what to call ourselves. So we said, also known as, AKA. So we went with that. It was horrendous.
It only lasted, I think, 2 gigs because somebody else had used it, and eventually we had to change the name. Personally, I hated the name, and I'm glad it got changed.
AKA, never liked it. Doesn't say a thing about the band, okay? Like a book title. It's supposed to say something.
So now we had rehearsed, and we were ready to play our first gig. And it was Monty who thought of this idea to do a video demo tape. Everybody was doing demo tapes and handing them to clubs. But Monty said, we'll do a video one. That way they can see us and hear us.
Monty was the first one to actually make a demo recording of us to go out and try to book gigs. Again, in typical EvenStephens fashion, nobody's asked to do it. Somebody jumped up and did do it. That's how we started rolling out our jobs.
So Monty had a 2-camera shoot way ahead of his time. It was actually very, very impressive. And he came back with this VHS cassette, and we were able to hand it to the bars. So recently, for this documentary, I was watching the videotape that Monty had made. And at the end, he put everyone's name, Scott Stevens, lead vocalist, Evan Balzer, lead guitar, vocals. And he wrote Reno Tahoe. And I have no idea where he got Reno Tahoe. The only thing is I think he didn't know that Reno's last name was Calalillo.
In Monty's demo tape, he had listed me as Reno Tahoe. I could only guess that he did that because he wasn't man enough to try to tackle my last name.
As far as being called Reno Tahoe, I thought Calalillo was probably a little too much for some people to roll off the tongue, or I don't know, for people to remember. Besides, it's just a rock band. This guy, Richie Scarlett, used to try and get me to call myself Monty Tahoe. I joked about it with Reno a little bit that we should use stage names. Monty like the card game, Reno like the gambling town, Monty Tahoe, or Reno Tahoe. I'll be Monty, what was it? Monty Vegas, or I forget what it was. 3-card money, I forget what it was, but we kidded about it. So that's why I put it there.
Oh, baby, she wrote me a letter.
Who thought up the name EvenStephens?
Now, I think the name EvenStephens came from Doug. I think Doug thought of it.
And Scotty, I think that was you. I think the even may have been a play on my name. I don't know, but it had a good ring to it. But I think it was your idea, Scotty, because the Stevens was not spelt in the traditional vernacular of EvenStephens, which is Stevens. I think you put your name on there, but that was cool. It was a great name, and everybody remembered it.
But I always assumed, or someone told me, I'm really not remembering, I think it came from the combination of Evan and Scott starting the band. Evan morphed into EvenStephens, the play on the expression.
I just heard it at a practice. I said, yeah, that's a good name because it says something about the band. It says something about this Stevens. That works.
But anyway, I was happy to be part of the band called EvenStephens.
When I said, baby.
And it must have gotten real bad that we asked him to leave the band because I think the only 3 ways you can leave the band is if you leave yourself, murder somebody, or steal. So for him to get asked to leave, we probably had enough.
It just wasn't working out with him. So Evan and I decided we would talk to him.
And then letting him go. That was at what is now the Olympic Diner, the Mayapack Diner, and Scotty and I went in there. And he, I don't know, Scott, I don't have a lot of recollections, but it was very hard because I don't think he saw that was coming.
Very, very awkward conversation for sure. We met him in a diner in Mayapack.
It didn't seem like a great fit because the guy would go off on, what do you call it? Fills. And sometimes he just would not come back from them alive.
So I said, yeah, I'll come by. I'll check you guys out. I'm really interested. So I did. I went up there. I walked in, grabbed a beer, took a chair, swung it around backwards, leaned on the backrest, and I was staring at the band. I'm focusing in on the drummer because I know this is the guy that I'm getting an opportunity to replace. And I thought he was good, but the more I watched him throughout the night when I was there, it became obvious why you guys were looking for another drummer.
But Doug was a good guy. I was sorry to see him go, but it had to be done.
I've unfortunately in my other career I've had to let people go and fire them, but that was actually one of the hardest ones I ever had to do because I think he was smiling. He was still smiling through the whole thing, but he was an interesting character.
I need love, love, to ease my mind. I need to find someone to call my mama said you can hurry, love. No, you just have to wait. Said love don't come easy. It's a game of give and take. You can hurry, love. No, you just.
I don't remember Craig showing up to any gigs of ours when he joined the band. I really didn't deal with Craig. I had nothing to do with him coming into the band. I know one of the questions going to be asked is, how'd you come to join the band? And I'm looking forward to reading that one myself.
So I guess when we met Craig, I think we put another ad in the paper. And I think he responded to that.
Me opening up the Penny Saver one night, and in the back they had, in the classified ads, they had a musician section. And I saw that there was an ad from this band, and they were looking for a drummer. The thing that caught my eye was there was a sentence in there that said, must play the blues or must like to play the blues.
I do remember Craig auditioning at Scotty's house.
Scotty and I talked, and we met in Elmsford. He handed me a tape. A week or so later, I went up to his place in Carmel, lugged my drum kit up that narrow staircase, set it up in the bedroom/rehearsal studio.
And my first words in my head were like, holy, Scotty, I think you were living above the garage on Route 52, like around Chris's Automotive or something like that. And then Craig came, I was like, holy fucking shit, this is the drummer we need. And, we had all been through Tourette syndrome with Doug, And I think, if I seem to recall, I think Monty wanted to kill Doug.
And I remember I came in with a piece of paper. And on the piece of paper, I had a bunch of songs that I felt most comfortable with, right? And I remember saying, hey, can we just knock these off and let's do this like we're doing a gig? And I remember everybody was kind of staring at me like, really? And I'm like, so you guys, let me do that. And boom, we hit it, we nailed it. I felt really comfortable. And then I had to go wait out in the living room, and I guess you guys talked amongst yourselves. And then Scotty and Evan came out of the bedroom first, followed by Monty and Reno. And Evan walked out and he put out his hand and he said, welcome to the family. And I thought that was the coolest thing, Evan. To this day, I tell that story a lot.
We met Craig. We hit it off right away because we soon realized that we shared the same birthday, February 24th. Of course, he's much older than me. Let's be clear on that.
Craig, energetic, can do. Let's get out there. Let's get going. Always the band first, and always a really, really, really great bandmate to have.
Super, super talented, fit right in, kept great time, was a lot of fun. But the thing about Craig was he wanted to take the band to another level. So he was willing to go out and book some gigs and do all those little things, email was new and stuff like that. So he took over and he booked us gigs. And next thing you know, we're getting in a van, we're playing in New Jersey and Westchester County and all this stuff. We kind of broke out of our shell.
I'd have to say, I thought everyone was a really good musician.
I do remember when Craig played his first gig, Doug showed up for that gig to see who his replacement was.
Favorite songs? Dance numbers. Anything that people were dancing to. That's kind of what I'm in it for. Love that stuff.
I liked the Motown compilation we did. Yeah, I always thought that came out good.
I think the Motown medley was always a favorite of mine.
Born to Run.
I loved playing Radar Love. I've always liked the song.
I like doing the Elvis stuff too because Scott really enjoyed himself singing that. I thought we did it well.
Lord Almighty, whatever that was.
Burnin' Love. Burnin' Love. Elvis Presley.
Two of them, Born to Run and Radar Love. Hands down.
I've been driving on out my head, playing on the wheel. This was my head, that's dropping a hill. Well, my baby's house and I need the head.
I had never played those songs before in any band, and I've never played them since. And we always brought the house down with those two songs.
The Letter.
Let's see, something else. Oh, something. The George Harrison song. Can't beat the Paul McCartney bass line.
Angel in the Centerfold. I got a kick out of that song.
Centerfold is another one that I really enjoyed, and I'm on the background vocals, and we were all in the booth together doing that. That was very cool.
I like Kiss, and nobody really liked Kiss in the band. They were way too good for that. But Reno learned the song Beth, and he put it all on the keyboards, programmed it in, and then he played along with it, and we played it out one time to actually, a friend of mine was at the gig who loved Kiss, and he thought it was awesome. So even though we only played it once live, I owe Reno for that one. That was awesome.
That's about it.
What's so funny about peace, love, and understanding? Yeah, what's so funny about...
This one is the best because I didn't remember it at all. I totally had it out of my mind. But then I found some old tapes.
Monty, definitely at the carnival.
Has to go down in history is Monty and the sound guy getting into a scuffle.
The Firehouse gig, well, that's all on videotape. That was fun.
And I had taped us playing this carnival and just had the camera set up on a tripod just facing the stage so it could kind of capture the band. And Monty got into a fight with the sound guy. So the sound guy, I think his name was Dan. And he was so drunk. It was a carnival, free beer for the sound guy, right? And for the band. But he was so drunk. And Monty wanted, a little more bass, a little more vocal. And the guy was not responding to it at all.
So I'm there playing, and I'm like, what's with Monty's bass? Monty's bass amp was over here, and it's it's coming in, it's coming out. I don't hear him, and I'm looking at him like, is he having, you know, problems or whatever?
We were playing Is She Really Going Out With Him? And it's a big bass part, boom, 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 boom. Monty turns his bass up as loud as it'll go. He's intentionally trying to blow the guy's speaker, right? He's slamming the microphone, and he's just playing boom, 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 as loud as he can. It's so distorted.
And then I see he's getting animated, and then I look out, and I can see the sound guy and him are arguing or something, and I'm trying to, you know, we're in the middle of a song. I'm trying to keep it going here.
The song ends, and the guy basically rushes the stage at Monty, stumbling up there drunk. Reno's like holding Monty back. It was great. I think Reno would have kicked the guy's ass for Monty, but I think Monty could have handled himself too. I think I could even beat Dan up. He was so drunk. Pack up being very awkward.
As Warner Wolf used to say, let's go to the videotape. I do believe we have tape on that, but it was definitely one of the funniest things I've ever seen in my life.
Well, you can see how mad Monty's getting. I mean, all he's asking for is a little more volume on his microphone, and he's getting nothing from this sound guy. So with the frustration, you know, you're about to see the fireworks.
Tell you what, that fucking asshole stuff. Go on. You just said that's it. That's fine. Dan, what do you do with these bikes, man? Here. I got a lot of them here.
We played a gig at Huskies one time. Some of the guys might remember this. There were 3 people there. 3 people. Nobody wanted to go in that bar. It later burned to the ground. I don't know if it was an insurance scam or what, but good riddance to that place.
Worst gig was probably the Ramada Inn in Elmsford, where the disco music was on intermission was louder than we were. So that was a bad gig.
The other one I still remember, we laugh about it, is we were out in Jersey and we were doing a gig out there, and we did Born to Run, and Scott busted his ass singing this song, man. He was sweating, and just he was soaked. So at the end of the song, we close the song off and finish. Crickets.
The worst gig I ever had. Showed up as drunk as you could be, and performed.
Oh, yeah. Zanzibar Lounge in Croton-on-Hudson. Scotty's showing up very drunk.
I drank all day.
He's a real trooper, man. He just hit the stage, and you know, I think probably his Elvis impersonation, that was probably the best that ever was.
Scotty being so drunk he could hardly stand. That was not once. I think that may have been a couple of times.
And it was, for me, horrible, mortifying.
But some of the other things, Evan and I had learned the Beatles song, The One After 909, one night after Scott had to leave early, and we started doing it. And on the third set of one of the gigs we played, we opened up the third set with it. And it was funny because we broke out into the beginning. Scott was talking to somebody, turned around and ran on stage ready to sing, but he didn't know what the song was, and we just broke out playing it. I thought it was funny. He got a kick out of it.
Some of the music that we've been playing. We went to a studio in Pleasant Valley, New York. It was called Electric Reels.
Electric Reels. Ah, the CD.
So that night at Electric Reel with Dan, pretty much here's when my age kicks in. I don't remember much.
Evan was good friends with the guy, Ron, who was the producer and engineer.
Well, Ron, I had been recording at Electric Reels for many, many years before that, so I was already well experienced with the place. And Danny's one of my best friends. But Ron actually lives up the street from me now in Kingston. My story I'll always tell Ron is the Tic Tacs, man. He was addicted to Tic Tacs, and depending on the mood, he would arrive at the studio with different colored Tic Tacs. He'd have orange, he'd have spearmint, which I guess this is white. And he'd have the red and everything, and he'd mix them up depending on the mood. He'd have two red, one white, and the other stuff, and the green, and he was always munching on them. But really good engineer and a really good ear for sound.
I had never been in a recording studio before, so it was very, very cool. We went back later with Matt playing.
Matt has arrived.
Greetings.
That's our bass player.
Buenos nachos.
This is a new rockumentary for MTV.
We did 4 more songs. It was pretty funny because I had went out to get the guys something to eat, and when I came back, they sang all the background vocals on one of the songs, and I was so mad because I wanted to sing on everything. And I heard it, and I'm like, that's better. That's better than what I would have done. So that stayed, and I still listen to the music all the time.
I remember getting up there, and it was this old house. Different rooms became different aspects of the studio. So when we decided that we were going to do this project, I decided to bring my video camera and make like a little EvenStephens documentary. It's got Evan doing overdubs on his guitar, it's got Reno adding horns and stuff. But I focus mainly on Ron, the engineer. And Ron was really a good engineer. But the whole experience up at Electric Reels, for me, it was just stellar.
You look like you know what you're doing there, Reno.
Play it like we play it out.
Yeah, right.
Keep the time. Don't like if anyone fucks up, you gotta remember, just keep playing. Don't. You're the most important. You gotta just keep playing. Duncan sounds cool.
Come on. Does she walk? Does she talk? Does she come complete? My homeroom angel is pulling me from my seat. She was pure like snowflake, no one could ever stain. Memory of my angel never caused me pain.
Yeah.
Over the pipe. Okay?
All right, Reno. That's a wrap, definitely.
I'm a soul man. I'm a soul man. Red, red, red. I'll be red.
I want to try one other thing. Keep it going.
And be running boy, yeah.
So fucking cool. Damn, that's fucking cool.
Alright, back in bubbles gonna go now.
Don't worry about it. We'll worry about that later. Yeah.
I gotta go room for him now.
Hang on, it's output.
Okay, people.
That's studio talk.
Let's hear it.
Does that sound like you?
We're gonna give her a listen.
You hear that?
Was it better?
Yeah, definitely.
Don't you know?
Started to sing.
Sweet darling, don't you go. Baby, baby, don't you know?
That was good.
Used to bring sweet memories. Sang one song.
I'm sorry, man. It's not even funny. But I'm fucking as delirious as any of them.
Favorite gigs? I can remember some really good gigs. The gigs at Michael's in Pleasantville were outstanding. It felt like there was 66 Stones on tour. I mean, they were literally coming up on the stage and everything. That place was packed. Those were great gigs.
I think the Montrose Firehouse gig was another good gig, mostly for me, because I'm in my hometown.
I tell you, some of the gig memories that I have, it's funny. Certainly remember playing at Fiddler's. We played there a lot.
Why don't you come with me, little girl, on a magic carpet ride? Well, you don't know what you can see. Why don't you tell your thing to me? Can't you see what's the truth? I say, yeah, I feel love for tonight. I feel wonderful. Break on through to the other side. Break on through to the other side. Break on through to the other side. Every time I come inside to do it, I will keep. Getting about the beach all day, let the beach get high. Going on a good night now. No, I've never like you.
Timothy Hutton at McGuire's. That was fun. I remember getting there. I always got there early, and Scotty was already there, and he was talking with Ray and some other guy that I didn't recognize right away. And Scott's like, "Hey, come here." And I come walking over, and it was Timothy Hutton. So that was really cool that I got to meet Timothy Hutton. And I was trying to get him to do a song with the band, but he said, you know, I haven't played in a really long time, and he said, I'll just leave that to you tonight. It's you know, one of the cooler memories of playing in EvenStephens. Every McGuire's pub gig, every Fiddler's Green gig. I mean, we always packed the place, so how could it not be a favorite gig?
McGuire's in Carmel, both in Carmel. And we would pack the place for there because all of my friends were 22, 23 years old. So it would be hundreds of people there. Now, this one, it's funny. I don't know. The answer is I don't know.
Monty, why did you leave the band?
I don't know why Monty left. I guess you got to ask Monty.
Well, the way I remembered it was that after Monty's departure, you know, that was a big hole to fill.
Why did I leave the band? Well, as mentioned, I didn't have any voice left. I'd done pretty much all there was to do in rock, at least like on a local basis. That's all I ever did anyway. And I wanted to kind of concentrate on family life and settling down, buying a house, all that fun stuff.
Someone sneaking around the corner.
When Monty left, that was a big hole to fill. But we found Matt, and Matt came in, and stepped right in and just filled a huge void.
I know this was a Kodak moment.
Yes, it's a Kodak moment.
You the bass player taking it, so.
I think we met Matt through Reno.
Reno said he knew this guy.
Reno would have to confirm that, but I'm pretty sure Reno said, "Oh, I know a guy I used to play in some wedding bands with. He's really good." And you know, Matt was great.
Yeah, so yeah, Matt was my guy. When Monty left the band, we had to find another bass player. And I told the guys, I think I know somebody. Let me see. I'm going to have to try to talk him into this. It could be tricky. So when I went home, I had gotten all my thoughts together, got my best sales pitch on, and the phone call went something like this. Hey, Matt, it's Reno. How you doing? Good. I'm good too. Listen, we're looking for a bass player. You interested? Yeah? All right. Meet me at my house on Tuesday. We'll go up for rehearsal. See you then.
Right? Yeah, Matt was great. And there were a couple of gigs where Matt, love Matt, very quiet, man. Very quiet. He was very reserved, really good bass player.
And Matt just fit right in. And Matt, I loved playing with you as much as I played with Monty. You guys are probably some of the best bass players that I've ever played with.
Matt came into the band. He just knew all the songs. He was such a pro. He was like the George Harrison of our band. He was the quiet one, unassuming, just came in, did his job, so reliable. It was such a great find for us. Once Monty left, we had to have it.
I'm gonna get you 10 more and Maggie's back in town.
Do I still play music? Yes, I do. I still play music. I do play with some friends. I actually play with Matt.
Looks like nothing's gonna change. Everything still remains the same. I keep you telling you, so I guess I'll remain the same. Sitting here, resting my bones, and this loneliness won't leave me alone. 2,000 miles I rode.
I left it behind. Don't play anymore. Still collect things once in a while. Play drums still, like I did since I was 14.
I play guitar every day. I stopped maybe for about 20 years when I got married and had the kids and everything.
But after EvenStephens, I did play in another band in New York in the early 2000s, maybe it was 2003, 2004, something like that. A band called Clown Pocket.
But then after I got divorced, I decided, man, I'm going to pick it up again. And I spent a lot of money on gear, and a lot of money recording, and been out gigging. And I was so happy. My first trio gig, where Scotty and Monty came out, and that was awesome. That made my night. And that was a really difficult night for me because that was my singing debut.
Matt lives in my town, so we get together once in a while. Mostly just sit in my basement and play my acoustic guitar. I got my PA set up and just play songs that I like, Not really very good, but I still love it. So yeah, I still play. I'm still into it. Music is a huge part of my life.
Together.
The answer is no. Unfortunately, when EvenStephens broke up, it broke my heart. We were on such automatic at the time. Everything just always worked out for us, and it worked out well. But when we split, I just didn't have the heart. I was near 40 years old plus at the time. I didn't have the heart to begin all over again. So pretty much, I pretty much stopped playing. I still think about it now and then. And maybe when I retire from work, I may pick it up again and just start to play, not go out, just to play for my own amusement.
And I'm playing a lot of music. I'm playing a lot of acoustic guitar. I have one of my guitars there and everything, but happy to say music is still a big part of my life.
And I invested in this. I mean, you know, so I play all the time on this. I still have my white drum kit. It's packed away. It's in cases, and it's at my condo in Campbell, California. And you never know. I might be breaking that thing out someday. I think the band ending was a huge disappointment for me personally, because I just loved playing with you guys. We were freaking good.
Nothing will top EvenStephens for me. That was the pinnacle. Too bad it was 30 years ago.
Just driving along, thinking to myself, I said some things, but they weren't enough.
We had a lot of good times, folks. We had a lot of good times, and it was great. It's a very, very, very fond memory.
And let me tell you, I talk about EvenStephens all the time, and I talk about my musical career, and I still say it's one of the best all-time bands that I've ever played in.
EvenStephens, my last band. It was a good band to finish with in a long and industrious, if not illustrious, career.
I had a great time with EvenStephens. I love the guys, and I love them still today. And that's why I'm doing this tape with them. And I hope you enjoy it.
Good Joes, plenty of gigs, lots of dancing, lots of good time.
And I'm so thankful that we're doing this documentary here, because this is like bringing us all back together again. I love the group chats. I mean, it's freaking awesome.
This is great that you guys are doing this, and I love you guys, and it's good to talk to you all. Bye.
The friendships I made with everybody in the band. Scott, and we share a birthday, so it doesn't get better than that. Evan, Reno, Monty, Matt, I've said it a number of times so far. Fond memories, great memories, loved gigging with you guys.
So I know that this video documentary has gotten a little long, but there was so much to cover, and believe me, it could have been 5 hours long. So I just want to say to the guys, thank you for participating, and thank you for some of the greatest memories of my life. This band really, really meant a lot to me. So much so that, I started a DJ business that lasted 20 years, and what do you think I called it? EvenStephens. So I really appreciate everything about all of you guys, and we'll forever be grateful, and we'll always smile every time I still listen to the old songs on CD.
See you later.
I wish you all the best, forever and forever. And if you guys ever want to pick up the instruments, I'm ready. Let's go. guys were so talented. You know, we played Born to Run. We played Soul.
1, 2, 3, testing. 1, 2, 3. Countdown. 3.
And negligee is really just too much. My blood runs cold. My memory is just slow. Angel lives in a fool. My blood runs cold.
1, 2, 3, 4. In the day we sweated out on the streets of a runaway American dream. At night we ride through mansions of glory and suicide machines. Frozen pages on Highway 9, chrome real fuel injection and stepping out over the line. Whoa, baby, this town rips the bones from your back.
You come in here. What?
I need you to sing so I can get levels. Oh, I'm sorry. You big dick.
I was.
Doug forget. Was it his stand? Oh, I guess it was his stand. Yeah, it wasn't the snare drum. Yeah, I think he said he was gonna sit in his lap like, you know, like a little monkey or something.
Yeah. What do you have to say? Hey, that's better than this anyway, you know. Most people do that.
I'm a soul man. I'm a soul man. I'm a soul man. I'm a soul.
Yeah, kick him out of there.
And will always smile every time I still listen to the old songs on CD. Well, we don't listen to CDs anymore, so that's fucking stupid.
And I'm like, huh? How did this, where's this coming from?
Let's see. Impressions. Well, I don't know. Oh, I know. I'm sorry.
So I think the first guy to respond was Reno. Reno came in and I met him. No, that's no good. Let's cut that.
Scott, you're gonna hate when you see this on tape. This is Major Tom. That's it.